Hey Larry, I hope you're doing well. Couple quick things. One, I know Cliff was suggesting that you still might be getting guys together for your Minnesota workout. And I was wondering if that possibly could happen and whether Kyler might be there. And then also just your thoughts on going into your 17th season and potentially having it be the way it is, playing kind of under the cloud of COVID, and kind of what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've been in constant contact with Cliff and talked to Kyler quite often, and all of my teammates for just to keep in touch. And the plan is, we've thrown here and there, but as you know, guys live all around the country, and during these unprecedented times, guys want to be in areas where they're safe and they feel like they can be protected with loved ones. And so, I know Kyler is anxious to get with his teammates, from talking to him. He loves being around us, and wants to take it to the next level and build on what he was able to accomplish last year as an NFL Rookie of the Year. And he's got a lot of guys who just want to go out there and play well for him, and he wants to do the same for us. So hopefully we'll be able to do it here pretty soon. We've been in talks, but trying to coordinate schedules from everybody, and then you got to think about the airlines, how many locations they're down. So just trying to get guys from everywhere to one location, logistically trying to do that. So we're working on it, and we plan to get together one or two times, hopefully before we get to camp.
Hey Larry, thanks for doing this. There were a couple of weeks between the killing of George Floyd and then your essay in the New York Times. And what were that 2 weeks like for you? Did it take a while for you to kind of gather your thoughts or see what the situation was like in your hometown?
Yeah, Ken. I was in Arizona when it all happened, and I had been contacted by you name it, in terms of media publications, papers, radio, TV. I mean, getting a comment, and I felt like it was probably better for me to get home. So I left and I went home in about 10 days sooner than I had planned on it. So I expedited it. Wanted to get home and go participate in some of the protests and talk to some of the city leaders, and get kind of a pulse for really what was going on, because you watch Fox News, you're going to be on the right. If you watch CNN, you're going to be on the left. And I didn't want to have the information that I was receiving be jaded or misinformed. I wanted to not only get accurate information, but also gauge what my true feelings and emotions would be like. Where he was killed is less than a mile from where I spent the vast majority of my childhood, and I wanted to really kind of emotionally engage in what was transpiring. And I felt like if I gave quotes or went on TV and answered questions, it would be possibly to facilitate an article that somebody else was penning, right, and use a quote for this and that. And I really felt like it was best for me to just sit down for 2 weeks and just take notes from every single interaction that I had with somebody, white, black, police officer, just had a lot of conversations with a lot of different people. And I wanted to get their feelings, and not only their feelings, but the emotions that they were feeling, because a lot of the people here, were outraged, and a lot of people were optimistic that this would bring about change. And, so it was a contrasting difference of opinions. And I wanted to gather all that and then internalize it, see how I felt about it, and be able to write my true feelings on paper where my words couldn't be miscrewed or used to go to some agenda pushing this or pushing that. And that's why I did it the way I did it, because, I just wanted to be a true, accurate, depiction of what I was really feeling being somebody who was born and raised here, and that's why I took my time with it, because it's unbelievable what's transpired over the last 2 weeks, and how different the climate and the conversations that are being had in the corporations, what they're doing and their stance on things, and I mean how much has changed. And I just wanted to make sure that I was really just getting a good gauge on how I felt and what I really wanted to say.
Hey, Larry, it's Kyle. Just mentioning the corporations talking about it and stuff. I'm wondering, from your personal experience, have you had to weigh in your career, whether you should address hot button societal issues as a high profile athlete?
No, not at all. I mean, for the most part, I try to stay out of politics. I take a little bit different stance, like, and this is just me speaking. This is not all athletes or anybody in particular. I really don't care what somebody that can catch a football or dunk a basketball says, to be honest with you, because I just don't. I mean, I'm not influenced by some singer or rapper or I'm just not influenced by that. The people that you want to hear from is the politicians, on the federal level and the local levels, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that truly affect the way we live our lives, the way our communities are policed, the sentencing, of people that commit crimes, all the things that are really playing out on a day-to-day basis are all direct results of elected officials. So those are the people that are really we need to focus our attention on, because their words are the ones that are most important in terms of the changes that are gonna happen. But I'm not naive to the fact that people look up to people in positions with platforms, and I'm not naive to the fact that you potentially can make an impact. I'm just talking about me personally. When I'm I'm not really moved one way or the other by the opinion of somebody that's not actually, legislated, or not somebody that's, been voted in by the public, because, at the end of the day, their opinion and their work and what they're doing is going to be, the most important, because that's going to affect change.
Next three questions would be Catherine Fitzgerald, Colin Harmon, and Sierra Santos.
Fitzy, welcome back, Fitzy.
Thank you, Larry.
Hopefully they gave you a raise.
Not yet, but I will tell them you said that, and appreciate the kind words.
Just tell him to take a little bit off of Kemp's plate and give it to you. He's been doing it a long time.
A suggestion for sure. We talked to Christian Kirk earlier this week, and he was saying how in the wide receiver meetings, Coach Rye has been really involved in these conversations. And I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about those. You and Coach Rye have had, or both from Minnesota, and how those backgrounds have been different and influenced these conversations.
Well, let me first start off by telling you how much I love Christian Kirk. He's a really, really special young man, and he's made me a better man being around him over these last 3 years. And just want to give a shout out to his mom and dad, for bringing him into this world, because it's a better place with him in it. And we shared a lot of great things over our meetings on a day-to-day basis. I don't want to divulge the exact content, but it's been eye-opening. Hearing Coach Rye's perspective, and Jerry Sullivan and Spence talk about what it's like and how they feel from the perspective of Caucasian males. And our room consists of primarily African American males, and so to be able to have those conversations so open, so free, with people that you care about, that love each other, that are all working for the same common goals, not only on the football field but in life in general, I think it's been awesome. And our group has come together and bonded in a way that I don't think would have been possible even if we were together in terms of on the field, because when you're on the field, the actual work becomes the most important. Once you get out to practice, you're not talking about social issues, and when you're in more of a virtual form, those things could be accessed and talked about in a much more readily available fashion. So I think we've grown so much, in the last few weeks, and hopefully we can continue to do that, and also be able to get better in terms of our football knowledge.
Hey, Larry, Colin Harmon with ABC 15 Sports. Hope you're well. Now that you're in Minnesota, how closely have you been able to follow what's going on here in Phoenix, and what's been your reaction to what's transpired over, I guess the last couple of weeks?
Colin, you would have to ask me that, huh? Honestly, I haven't really been following much. I talked to Governor Ducey a couple of weeks ago. Talked to some other people. Talked to Mark, Attorney General. Talked to a bunch of people, and that I respect in Arizona, and I'm trying to put out fires here in Minneapolis right now, but I'm definitely going to make sure that my presence is felt, and I really want to know people that believe it's important now to not just do a lot of talking, right? I've said what I felt. I said what I believe to be right in my heart, and now it's just about the action, right? It's about serving the community, closing the divide, and that's really what my focus is right now. Is trying to do that here, and trying to do it in Arizona, and just be a positive influence.
Hi, Larry. Sierra Santos, Fox 10. The NFL announced today that they will now recognize Juneteenth as an office holiday. What are your thoughts on that, and what other actions can they take that you think would be steps in the right direction?
Well, I think the NFL has taken some great steps. First of all, it was big, our commissioner to come out and say what he said about the events of 2017, and how they wish they could have done a better job, and that's not an easy thing to do. So I commend Commissioner Goodell for that, and also his open dialogue with players, that he's had, and really check the pulse of the players. I've talked to him a lot, developed a really strong relationship with him, and I feel like his heart is in the right place. He wants to be on the right side of history. He wants to make sure he's doing things to position our game to continue to grow, and to be a game that's loved and appreciated by everyone. So trying to find that harmony. I'm happy, and that we're treading in the right direction on this issue, and hopefully we can continue to gain traction by doing things like recognizing Juneteenth and other things that are important to not only African Americans but everybody that loves and watches the game.
Next three will be Josh Weinfuss, Mike Jarecki, Darren Urban.
Hey, Larry, it's Josh. When you went back to Minnesota,
Josh, I haven't seen you back here in Minnesota. Where you been, man? I thought I would see you out here some of the protests, man.
I've been out there. I haven't seen you.
I haven't seen you, Josh.
Well, you
just because it's not on social media, doesn't mean people aren't doing it.
Well, you should have called. When you were back there, who did you talk to? What did you learn from them? What are you doing on the ground, if anything, there? And then, do you plan on kneeling in protest during the 2020 season during the national anthem?
So I've talked to, you name it, great relationships with a lot of those politicians and state legislators here. Like I said, I've been here a very long time, and my dad's been a pillar in this community for a long time. So I've talked to a lot of people. I don't want to mention anybody by name. And I've been to St. Paul, I've been to North Minneapolis, I've been to South Minneapolis, I've been talked to some community activists. I've really, over the last 2 weeks, tried to delve in and really get a great grasp for who I'm talking to and what I'm talking to. I don't think is important for me to disclose, but I've got a lot of work done And like I told you, like I told Fitzy before, is I think it's important for me to now really focus on action. And that's really what's going to affect change. And for kneeling, I have no idea. Our first game is not until August. It's a long time, and I think there will be players that will kneel. I think there will be players that will stand, and we'll deal with it accordingly when that time comes.
Larry, when it comes to 32 teams around the league, there's not a lot of optimism this time of the year. Patrick Peterson's come out recently and says he really likes this roster, could be one of the better teams. Do you see that on paper?
Yeah, I mean we're solid. We're a solid football team. We have some great talented players individually, but you're only as good as the collective team is. And we have to get on the practice field. We have to work through some kinks. We have to get new guys acclimated, to what we're doing. And so I think everybody's anxious to get back to work and get on the field and kind of see exactly what we have. And just get to working and bonding, as a unit that we need to be, because it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. I mean, with limited practice time and all the new guys that we have on our team. But it's a problem that all 32 teams are going to be facing. And, the better we're able to deal, whatever the scheduling and testing and the quarantine and the separation, whatever the landscape looks like, the fastest team that's able to adopt and be able to make that their new norm will come out on top. And I hope that we're able to do that.
Larry, you've been through an off season where you didn't get to do anything in 2011 during the lockout. I mean, at least this year you guys could have the virtual meetings. When you think back to what you went through there and then going to camp and trying to get ready for a season, are there things you can draw from that you might be able to tell your teammates about to help in that regard? And are you concerned personally about playing with all these guidelines and COVID restrictions?
Personally, 2010 was my favorite offseason I ever had in 17 years. Not even close. I mean, I'm a professional. You don't have to wake me up in the morning to go train and catch balls and run routes. And I'm going to do that. That's my livelihood. That's my passion. That's my joy. And so it gives me the ability to be a lot more flexible in that I can go do meetings and sit in on board meetings and doing some of the other things that I'm interested in, and also get the work that I know I need to get done to prepare myself for the rigors of the football season. So, I mean, for a guy like me, it's great, not having the wear and tear of mini camps and OTAs and the drudgery and monotony of, sitting in meetings all day, of things that you pretty much know and known for the last 15 years. And I can get right to the things that are most important to me in terms of getting myself together, which I know. And so this has been great. And obviously the only differences has been, the things that we're dealing with as a society, which none of us has really had to deal with in our lifetimes that are on our football team with COVID and now the protests and things of that nature that are going on. So, that's been different, but in terms of the preparation for ball, it's been great. And I don't know. I kind of, read what the NFL sends out. Coach Cliff kind of keeps us up to date on, the memos and things that are coming out, and talk to Tom Reed and Mark Dalton about things. And it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be different. Having training camp at the facility when I've never had that before. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of new news, and we have to adjust to it, and we have to do it very quickly.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up with the final three: Kevin Zimmerman, Nick King, and then Cam Cox.
Hey, Larry, it's Kevin from Arizona Sports. Just over the last few months, Christian said you guys got together with the receivers and DeAndre Hopkins. What have you learned about DeAndre, just spending a little more time with him virtually or in person, and how has he kind of fit into your guys' room just as an individual?
Well, the dinner at my house, we were maintaining our distance, between all of us. Everybody had their masks on. we were eating plastic silverware and paper plates, just making sure that we were following the guidelines Governor Ducey had laid out for us. And I've known DeAndre since he was in college. We've had a great relationship for the last 8-9 years. Somebody that I highly respect and admire the way he goes about his business. And I couldn't be more happy to be able to have him on the team. It's another wonderful person for Christian and Trent and Hakeem and Andy and Key and the other young guys to be able to learn from. He does it the right way. He works tirelessly on his craft to improve and get better. And then, he's only cemented that with the way he's, been in the meetings, how punctual, the note taking, the questions that he's asking, the advice he gives to the young guys. I mean, it's been unbelievable. And, the future is going to be extremely bright with him and Christian here for, the next, hopefully 10 plus years, catching balls here from Kyler. I mean, so I'm really excited about the future of, the Cardinals because they have some really good men, and primarily being led by David Rye, who's, one of the best men you ever be around and football coaches.
Larry, Nick King, 3TV, CBS 5. You mentioned, the need for action now. I think it's been a challenge for a lot of people around the country who are able to recognize that there are issues now, but figuring out what to do, what they can do next. Is there anything you can share that you've been able to identify here about what the next steps are for you or for anyone to take action?
I mean, the tensions, the racial tensions, honestly, really just it just really comes down to lack of knowledge, right? It would be great if, you didn't see color, you didn't recognize color. And I would be naive if I told you that, earlier in my life that I didn't see color more often, right? I just think it's something that, unfortunately, we all do, even if you don't want to admit it. But the more I've educated myself, the more knowledgeable I've become. And I think, traveling around the world, 107 countries now I've met people from every single race. I've met people from every different religion, men and women, homosexual, heterosexual, transgender. I mean, and I've met great people in every single place I've gone. I've met great rich people, great poor people. I just see people in a different light because I've seen it. I've seen and had such positive interactions with people all over the world. And it's more so about just accepting people for who they are. And one day, I pray that we'll be able just to look at the color of a person's skin no differently than, the shirt that you're wearing or the shoe color that you have or the color of your eyes or your hair. And when we get to that point, the world will be a much better place. But it's going to take some time. It's going to take some understanding. It's going to take a lot of education and people opening their hearts to things that they possibly didn't think was possible in the past. But I think, with the way things are going right now, I think it's a lot more feasible than it was at any other time in history.
Larry, thanks again so much for taking the time to do this today, buddy. Hope you and your family are doing well. And many people that I'm talking with these days, the conversations kind of shift at some point to what they're saying to their kids. And I know that's got to be a tough time, especially having those conversations with younger kids. I'm curious as to what the conversations are like with your kids and you being so involved in the community there in Minneapolis. Just what do you tell them and what's going on with the world today?
Well, primarily, I've had a conversation with my oldest. He's 12 years old, and Devin, he asked me a lot of questions. He's curious about this and curious about that, and I kind of take the same, the honest approach. I never try to sugarcoat or downplay anything. I just tell him exactly what I see, how I perceive it, and I let him kind of digest it the way he wants to. I think the better he's equipped, at a young age to be able to see things for the way they are, but also to understand that things can be different and need to be different. will help him in the conversations that he has with his friends. Even if you hear somebody say something that you don't like, don't bite your tongue. Tell them, hey, look, that's unacceptable. If you're gonna speak like that, we can't be cool. Like, the more often you do that, somebody who maybe is lacking confidence in your group will do the same thing in one of his private conversations with a friend, and that's how, love and courtesy and respect is started, and holds people accountable. And so I always challenge him to do that. Be a leader, amongst your peers. Be a leader in your community. Do things no matter what. If everybody's going one way, it's not the right thing. I don't care. You do the right thing always, and treat people with respect. All those things. These are conversations that we share, and it's great to see him kind of just taking it all in and being a man. And when we got back home, he was like, Dad, I really want to go down, to the protest. I mean, it's something I was really moved about. So we went down South Minneapolis and participated, and I was really proud, just of him and his views, and it was great to see, a young person, 12 years old, who hasn't experienced anything like that, but being that socially aware, and it gave me a lot of hope. And as a father, it makes you proud, to see that you're helping contribute and raise a young man that is socially conscientious, and that really made me feel good.